everybody. Welcome back to the best movie review series in the game. Today we'll be discussing The Crazies. Just finished watching it. You know how we do it. I will give you my overall impressions and grade after giving you the logistics about the movie. If you've not seen the movie would like to, based or not based on my recommendation, you want to shut off the video because there will be spoiler alerts. We'll be discussing the plot synopsis and character development, and any similar movies or major themes. So, we had The Crazies. It was released in 2010, rated R, a horror/thriller movie with a runtime of 1 hour and 41 minutes. You can watch it with HBO Max or just Max. Google says why to watch. It's thrilling, disturbing, and violent. It says, anarchy reigns when an unknown toxin turns the peaceful citizens of Ogden Marsh into bloodthirsty lunatics. In an effort to contain the spread of the infection, authorities blockade the town and use deadly force to keep anyone from getting in or out. Now trapped among killers, Sheriff Dutton, played by Timothy Oliphant, and his wife Radha Mitchell and 2 companions must band together to find a way out before madness and death overtake them. Had a budget of $20 million, did $55 at the box office, directed by Breck Eisner. 74% liked it on Google, 71% liked it on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. So I don't watch a lot of strictly horror movies. This was more of a horror movie than I remembered. I have seen it before around the time it came out. But I like Timothy Oliphant as a character or as an actor, and I remember liking this one amongst other horror movies where typically I'm watching a horror movie because I'm trying to cuddle up next to a girl, which fuck me at this point, it's about 10 years ago, so I just don't watch that many strictly horror movies. But I remember liking this one, so I rewatched it. So if you have not watched it, I liked it. I'm going to give it a D+, upper end of entertaining. Again, I like Timothy Oliphant. Thought it was it's a good mix between just like a horror movie, and I also like the plots that explore degradation of society, where normal life goes into chaos, and just see how people react. Or I always think that's kind of a rich writing environment, as I've said many times in this series. So, biological toxin developing into crazy people, kind of intriguing just to see, again, structured society go to survival mode. So overall, I found it entertaining, again, even for like the second or third time watching it. So if you have not watched the movie and would like to, based off that, in decent horror movie with some good survival, then you're going to shut off the video now, because we'll be discussing the plot. So the movie opens up. What happens at the beginning? Oh, the first opening scenes is you just see this town burning, cars, desolate, destruction going on, and then it says 2 days earlier. Then you rewind, and then you meet David Dutton, who's the sheriff. His deputy sheriff Russell, he's married to Judy. She is a doctor. She sees one patient named Becca. She tries to get off work to say that she's sick or her aunt's in town when she wants to go meet up with her boyfriend, and David is at the local baseball game. And so you have this guy, they're playing baseball, and this guy just walks onto into the outfield with a shotgun. The character's name is Roy Hamill. So David runs out there to confront him. He's like, put the gun down, I'm playing baseball here. And then Roy, yields the weapon and points it at him. And so David Dutton draws his backup Russell, or deputy sheriff, also pulls out his gun, and a little standoff, and he goes to, Rory threatens him again, and David shoots him. So Rory is killed in the opening scenes. They called him the town drunk, so David is suspecting that he was drunk and was drinking, and so they're waiting for the blood alcohol to come back, or the tox run screen thing to come back in the next 24 hours. And so during that day, Judy deals with another character. His name's Bill. His wife brings him in because he's just acting funny, and he just kind of he's in his checkup, and he just repeats the same thing a couple times, and so they can't. Dr. Judy says all his vitals are fine, but he does seem a little off. And so they just send him back home. And then the next day shows up, and Rory's blood alcohol was 0. And so David can't believe it. But then the next kind of thing that happens is he gets a call in the middle of the night to go to this crime scene. And so what happens is Bill, he turns into a crazy. I mean, that was his title of the movie. That's what they call him in the movie. But his wife and son see him like they have a big farm tractor, and the tractor's running, and it's like in the middle of the night. So the wife goes out there, Deirdre Farnham goes out there, and he's not in there, and she hears her son scream back in the house. Runs back in the house, and her son is hiding. He's like, we need to hide from Dad, he's got a knife. So they're hiding in a closet. Bill locks them in there, and then sets the whole house on fire and burns them down. So Deirdre's dead, the son is dead, and Bill is like mowing the lawn when the police show up. And so clearly now something's going off. People are going crazy. And so another minor scene with David gets confronted by the family of Royal Hamill and gets slapped in the face by the wife. Has some implications later on. But the next kind of thing that happens is a couple fishermen find a pilot that is dead in this water in this swamp area. I think it takes place in like Iowa, present day, like 2010. But regardless, they find this airline pilot, and they go looking for the plane, and they find this humongous plane that has been downed, and it's just sitting under this water supply. And so David goes back to the station. Bill is, in the prison cell, and he's just standing there, just like to say playing statue, just standing there for hours. But they look at the water, and they realize that their drinking water is coming from this place where this plane is at, and that there's been no plane that big, and there's been no news on it. Something must be up. And so he goes to Mayor Hobbs, David, and Russell, and David's like, we need to shut off the water supply, and Mayor Hobbs is like, absolutely not. This is a farming town. And so David does that himself. And him and Russell's like, this is probably gonna make you lose your job. And he's like, that wouldn't be the worst thing. But then they go back into town, and it looks like Bill, he's like, he's got some real deformities. His blood's like really pronounced and like running through his veins and stuff. He like is on the ground, and they're not sure if he's dead or not. And so they get like close to the bar. There's some good jump out scenes in this movie. And he like kind of jumps up towards the bar, and he's not dead. And so they requested a transfer for him, and they haven't heard anything. And so they try to call people, and then they realize the phone lines are down. So they have no service. David runs down the street, sees this black SUV pull away, but now he's definitely suspecting something's going on. And so he goes back to his home with Judy, and they're having, I don't know if they're having an argument or not, but David wants Judy to leave town for a little bit, and he wants to stay because he's the sheriff, and she's like, I'm the doctor. And then Judy's like, there's somebody out there in the barn. And so David goes out there to investigate the barn, hears Judy scream, goes to run back out, and then gets apprehended by military people. So then they get shuttled into this big triage-looking area. They're taking people's temperatures. Judy gets pulled aside because because she's pregnant, so she's been running a fever, and so she gets pulled aside for being sick or one of the crazies, and David doesn't. And so they get separated, and David decides that he's going to go back and try to rescue her. And a minor character is like, they took my wife too, and David's like, I'm not going to ask you why you didn't go back to your wife, as long as you don't ask me why I am going back for my wife, or something to that effect. And so Judy is strapped to this big table. These military personnel, someone breaches the perimeter, and so all the military personnel go out to run out and engage, and all of these people that are sick or not sick, mix of both, are sitting there, and Becca, the girl from the opening scenes, Judy's assistant at the doctor's office, is strapped to this table, and this crazy guy comes through and just starts pummeling people with a pitchfork through their chest and killing them. And so he goes up to Becca, about to kill Becca, kills like 2 people. He's about to go kill Becca, and then Judy hollers like, "Hey, come this way!" And then he slowly drags his pitchfork over. It's a horror movie, building some suspense. Goes over about to stab Judy when back at David and Russell both went back to the sheriff's office, and they pulled guns on each other, but now they're we're both doing the same thing. So now they're going to rescue Judy. So right as the guy's about to stab her with a pitchfork, he gets shot in the chest and killed. And so now you have your 4 main characters. You have David and Judy, along with Russell and Becca, and they're trying to survive. And so the next thing they got to do is, they got to keep a low profile. But they go back to David and Judy's house to get supplies and whatnot. And so you might miss some scenes, don't know, but they go back to the house, and Judy's kind of being, nostalgic because, the town is now destroyed. It's never going to be what they wanted it to be. They were going to raise their family here, blah, blah, blah. Goes up into the baby's room, the nursery where they're preparing for their child, and the Roy Hamhill, the wife and the son, who are severely infected, are in the room. And so they tie up Judy, and then David goes looking for her. Unbeknownst to him, she's tied up in this room, enters the room, and then he gets choked by the son. So you have Roy Hamhill's son and the wife, both severely infected, getting revenge for, killing Rory. And so, scene where Timothy Oliphant, struggles with the son, goes to grab the gun, the wife stabs him through the hand again. He was able to fight him off, wrestles and stabs the wife into the neck through his hand, then pulls the knife out, which I gotta know for playing a biological contagion, that would definitely get infected. And so it's like, talking about being in the water and the airborne, the blood-to-blood contact on open wounds would probably transmit it as well. But, minor detail, not important for the movie. But regardless, they do that, and then after he kills the wife, the son's standing there with his gun, and Russell shoots the kid in the back, he's severely infected, through the window outside. And so now, back in the room, they're still kind of wiggling around a little bit, the crazies, and Russell mag dumps into them to make sure they're dead. And so now David and Judy are kind of on the edge, let's be wary, Russell might be sick. And so the four of them go. I think Becca's still with them at this point. Yeah. And so they have to they're trying to get to a gas station and then get to the next town, like Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And so they're going to cut through this field, through this farm, and try to make it to this truck stop. And so they cut through the farm, and it's Becca's boyfriend, and so he pulls a gun on them. Very quickly, his mom's still in the house, and the military police show up, and they're hiding in the barn. They execute the mom on sight. The son runs out there, and he gets executed. And so they're hiding in the barn. A soldier comes in, they knock him out or, disarm him, and it's like they're hiding right behind him with guns on him, like, you're going to act like normal, and you're going to say this is all clear and we're good to go. So the soldier does that, and you get some information about the plot again. The soldiers don't know what they're doing. They're just sent to a state where they didn't recognize where they were until they saw the license plate and just following orders. And so the soldier doesn't out them, and so the military leaves. Now the four are going to find a car. David has an old car still at his house. So that scene probably happens before the Rory Hamhill family scene, but regardless, that's what happens. And they get in a car and they start driving. And so they see this big helicopter fly over them, and at this point they're aware that they're pretty much killing a lot of people. And so they go into this car wash to hide. And there's crazies in there, so another fight scene. They go through there, they're shooting at stuff. Again, Russell's getting more and more sick. But at the end, they go to, they think they're out of it, they kill like two of them, and there's one other crazy person on the back of the car, and he hangs Becca with this tubing from the car wash. So Becca gets killed in that scene, so she's gone. Now it's just David, Judy, and Russell, and they're kind of standing inside the car wash terminal, and the car rolls out, and then the helicopter flies over and blows it up. And so, kind of like a relief scene, like if we were still in the car, we definitely would have died. Anyway, they carry on foot. They see another big black SUV coming. They throw out a spike strip. Well, David's going to shoot the guy and take the car, but Russell throws out a spike strip. And it was another minor character in this movie, but a well-known actor. I've seen him in a bunch of things. Regardless, but David starts interrogating, and they learn that basically a plane crashed carrying a biological contagion that spilled into their water, and it's a biological weapon, but they got downed in transport. And so basically a big accident, now they have to, contain the area. And so as he's questioning him, Russell shoots him in the head, and David, when they start walking in, David's like, okay, I'm going to carry the guns from now. And so Russell has another pistol, clearly aware that, that Russell's getting sick, and Russell's kind of in denial a little bit, but he pulls out a gun, and disarms David, makes them walk in front of them. After a couple hundred yards, David confronts Russell. Russell puts the gun down. David punches him in the face and disarms him. And it's like, you're getting sick. And he's like, can I walk with you for a little longer? So they're like, sure. They go up to this place, and then Russell decides to sacrifice himself for the good of the group. He goes up to approach it, distracts the military checkpoint, so David and Judy can cut through the field and get to the truck stop. And so that works. Russell hasn't, he unloads the gun, so he's not going to hurt anybody. But then he approaches and pulls out a gun, death by cop, but really to distract him from his group to get away. So now you just have David and Judy. They go one final scene or kind of area. They make it to the truck stop. They're looking for stuff. They pick up a police radio. Judy sees that even the people they put on the bus that were healthy, they just exterminated literally everybody. So she finds a truck full of bodies that they would have been on anyway. There's a couple more crazies in the diner, and so they have to fight them off. There's like two or three of them. More fight scenes. They kind of hide in this like little closet with a bunch of dead bodies. They get this big 18 big rig truck, and they find the keys after a fight scene and carry on. And so they have this military radio now, and the military radio is like, countdown, and the countdown to what? So they keep looking behind them, driving as fast and as far away as they can, and they basically just detonate this huge bomb or a nuclear weapon or something to decimate the entire town. And so like the impact of the explosion blows over the truck, and then they continue on by foot, and then the final scene is them approaching Cedar Rapids or Cedar something, Iowa, and then the same kind of opening scene. And throughout the movie, you get these like scenes where it's like it's being monitored by satellite, and so you see the actual complete ending scene is the satellite zooming out and saying, approaching Cedar Rapids, a population 132, initiate containment protocol, which was what happened after they got abducted at their house, or once the thing had, they were onto the contamination. So basically the resolution to the movie is that it's not done, and they're carrying it to the next town, and that they're going to have to contain them again. So overall, for a horror thriller movie, again, I like Timothy Olyphant. I thought it was better for the genre of horror. So entertaining, upper end of entertaining for me. Major themes, I don't know. Biological contagion, I don't know. It's definitely not going to just kill you. But similar movies, I Am Legend, World War Z. Yeah, I don't know. Stuff like that. So overall, entertaining. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.